Guys, welcome. Chelsey Benzel here. I'm coming to you from a little bit of a different location than my normal Facebook Lives. I'm actually house sitting at a friend's gorgeous villa here in Ubud, Bali. I don't know if you can see behind in the window behind me the reflection. I'm sitting outside with jungle and rice field and it's just gorgeous. Hence the headphones. I'm competing with all sorts of jungle noises and whatnot. So as you're coming on, let me know that you can see and hear me okay and that everything is running smoothly in my new location. And whether you're watching this live on Facebook, watching the replay, or you're catching it on YouTube or on my blog or whatever, leave a comment. Let me know you're here. Let me know where you're tuning in from. I love to hear where all of you are at, and any aha moments, any insights as we dive into today's topic, any questions, anything like that, leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Okay, so I want to know, how many times have you found yourself listening to outside advice or looking at what other people are doing and you feel like, okay, if I can just nail that strategy, or if I can just emulate what they're doing to a T, then I'll be set. That's it. Except here's the thing. There's no one size fits all path to success. So what someone else might be doing probably isn't going to be exactly what you need to be doing. There's all of this outside advice and perspective and all of this wisdom, even all this stuff that's coming at us online or wherever all the time. And that's what I want to talk to you about today, is how do you sift through all of that and find out what is right for you. So I want to give you some perspective and some ways to let go of that overwhelm from all of the millions of different things that you could be doing, and come back to what it is that you're doing, and finding that trust in what you're doing and where you're at on your path right now. So before we dive in, I am Chelsey Benzel. If you don't already know me, I am a business coach for coaches and online entrepreneurs who have something they want to share with the world but need a little help getting their message out into the world and in front of the people they're here to serve. I'm also the host of the Soulpreneur Society, a private Facebook group where I help female coaches and online entrepreneurs build a business they love with less hustle and more heart. I've included a link in the description to join us, so come on over after this video, click the link, request to join, and I will let you into the group. And I think that's about it. I have some really awesome stuff to share with you today, so if you see me looking down, I'm just checking out my notes to make sure I don't miss anything for you. Okay, here's a little bit of perspective for you. Only you can share your gifts and your message with the world. All your stories, your experiences, your perspective, it's all unique to you. That means what you have to share has never been shared before in the way that you can share it. And you get to decide what that looks like and how you bring that to life. So that can be really exciting, and it can also be kind of terrifying and kind of overwhelming, because how do you decide then what you do, what path you take, what strategy you follow, and all of that. So the best way that I've found to do that, to like make sense of all of that outside influence, all those ideas and wisdom and strategy, is to look at what feels good. You get to have that final say in what you do and how you do things. And you want to make sure that it feels good. It's your business. So what I do, I always run things through this filter of, how does it feel? If I'm looking at a decision I need to make, or something that's presented itself to me, I always ask, does this feel expansive or does it feel contracting? So expansive being that subtle yes, it feels really good. It feels, if you were to compare it, I think of that feeling light versus contracting being the darkness, the struggle, it's that subtle no if you really tune in. And I think that's where the hustle comes from. When we embark on a path or we start to do something that right from the beginning it felt like that subtle no, it was a bit contracting when we felt into it, except we probably didn't feel into it. We just went full steam ahead with that thing that didn't feel aligned from the beginning. So I always ask, does it feel expansive or does it feel contractive? And using that as a guide then to decide if something feels like a no, however subtle it might be, then it's not worth doing, even if it makes perfect sense to your mind, which I'll talk about in a second. So this feeling into this like running it through this filter and knowing, does it feel good? Does it feel like a no? It's a practice of tuning into your intuition. And so tuning into your intuition is a whole lot easier when you're in your heart versus when you're in your mind. So when you're in your heart, that's when you can really tap into things. Things feel more feminine, more flowy, and you're more receptive to your own inner guidance. But when you're in your head, it's the opposite. That's when we're trying to figure things out logically. We're overthinking things and fit the pieces together, make sense of things. It's more rigid and it's more masculine, and often it's when we're more like closed off. The more you can get into your heart and the more that you can practice being in that space, not just in your business, but in your day-to-day life, like the more that you can do things, whether it's in your relationships, in your day-to-day activities, even the foods you eat and your morning routine, things like that, the more that you can practice being in that space of where things feel really good and you're in your heart, you're open, you're in that state of flow, the more you're going to tap into the universal intelligence that's all around you. And what I believe, you may or may not share the same beliefs, but I believe that it's that universal intelligence that is working through you as you show up and serve in your business. Because you have something to share that's much bigger than yourself. And it's that if you can be open to that guidance and into the universe or God even, or whatever you want to call it or however you want to think of it, the more that you're open and receptive to that, the more things are going to flow and unfold perfectly and in ways that feel really good. So getting into your heart is key, but it's also super important to stay in your own lane. Trust that everything that is happening and unfolding around you is happening exactly the way it's meant to for you. So your mind, when you're in your mind, you might think that you should be further along on your path, or that you should be doing things in a certain way because it fits into a pretty little box that you can make sense of. But I want to encourage you to really trust your intuition, even when it doesn't make sense. This is something that's come up actually quite a few times this past week with clients and friends of mine who've shared that they feel like, okay, I really feel like I need to take things in this different direction, but it doesn't logically make sense at all. But it's often that stuff that's where the magic is. If you can learn to tap into that intuition and to hear that guidance, sure, it might not be what someone else is doing in their business, and it might not even be what other people who are doing similar things to you. If you feel guided to take things in a certain direction, honor that and own it, and trust that there's truth to that it's okay to follow that different path. And I want you to trust that even if things feel really messy right now, or even like you're really struggling, trust that you're learning the lessons that you need to be learning right now so that you can turn around and help people who are exactly where you're at right now. There's always that kind of silver lining to things as we're going through this, like these muddy waters and things, we're wading through all of this stuff and trying to get to the other side. It's in that process that we grow and we're able to show up better for the people we're here to serve. So trust in that, and trust that you're learning the lessons, you're having the experiences, you're meeting the right people at all the right times. It's kind of like just how everything has lined up perfectly and unfolded how it has up until this point to bring you to exactly where you are right now. Things are going to continue to unfold in that way moving forward. It's just that sometimes we have to be on the other side of things to look back and see that, yeah, that actually did happen exactly perfectly. All of the synchronicities, all of the coincidences, and all of that. And the cool thing is, the more you get into your heart and into that place of trust and in flow, the more synchronicities you're going to notice. If you follow Abraham Hicks, I'm a big fan of Abraham Hicks. They talk about the vortex, and that's similar. It's kind of the exact same thing. It's when you're in that space where things flow and things feel really good, you're in that higher vibration and you're in alignment with more things that flow and feel really good to come into your life. I had a huge lesson in trust a few years ago, and it ties into this like trusting that you're exactly where you're meant to be, even if it doesn't always feel like it, or even if your mind thinks otherwise. So I was running late for this important breakfast meeting. I had just signed up to work with this new business coach, and everyone who paid in full was invited to this breakfast the next day. So this coach had made it really clear that he really strongly disliked people being late. He saw it as a sign of disrespect, and basically along the lines of, if you're going to be late, you may as well not even show up. So I had this in my mind as I'm getting into my car to go to this breakfast on that morning. And for whatever reason, I was running late. So I got in my car and I'm like, okay, I'm going to really have to race there to get there on time. Like, maybe I can still make it. Let's just hit the road and we'll go and we'll see how it all unfolds. I get in my car and I hit some crazy traffic, and I knew right away that I was going to be late. So I keep driving, and the whole time my mind is saying, just turn around, just go home. There's no point. You don't want to disrespect him. You don't want to show up late. It's going to be so embarrassing. Like all these stories, this mind chatter, because that's how I thought things were supposed to be. Like that fit into that box of what was expected of me and all of that. But I knew deep down, just like I knew that this was the coach that I was meant to be working with right now, I knew that I was meant to be at this breakfast. So I kept driving and I just said, okay, I hear you. I recognize that my mind is saying, just turn around and go, but I'm going to continue. I'm going to show up even if I'm late. So sure enough, I get there. I'm like 10 minutes late. I tiptoe into this meeting room, and there's like all these people around the table, and there's only one seat left. So I make my way over there as quietly as I can, and I go and I sit down in this chair, and the man who is sitting next to this open chair, which was mine, turns and looks at me and he goes, "Are you Chelsey Benzel?" And I was like, I'd never seen this man in my life, but turns out he knew both my parents, and just by seeing me, he, I guess, somehow recognized my parents in me and knew who I was. I don't know. It was super serendipitous, and it gave me chills. Even thinking back to it, it was out of this world how it all lined up, and how by me just trusting that that's where I was meant to be and, you know, showing up. And I met this man who, after that, we got to chatting, and he became sort of a mentor for me, and he really held my hand and supported me as I was stepping up in my business at that time. And had I listened to my mind and turned around and went home, I never would have met him. I wouldn't have connected with him in the way that I did, and none of that would have unfolded the way that it did, which was so perfect. So I always think back to that whenever my mind pipes up, because it still does. I can talk about this stuff and share, you know, what ideally we all should be doing, but I want you to know I do still experience this stuff. So I come back to that. That's one of the stories that I always return to when my mind is trying to run the show. And I come back into that place of trust and just knowing that I'm exactly where I'm meant to be right in this moment, even if my mind thinks otherwise. So I want to share that with you to hopefully help inspire some trust in you that you are also exactly where you're meant to be, no matter what you have in front of you, what you're going through right now. Trust that you're meant to be experiencing exactly what you need to be experiencing right now, learning what you're meant to be learning, being presented with the opportunities that you're being presented with, crossing paths with the right people. It's all unfolding perfectly. And I just invite you to continue to come back to your intuition and to continue to come back into your heart so that you can align with that flow and let it all continue to unfold in ways that feel really good. And with that, I want to share that I have a couple one-on-one coaching spaces opening up next month, which I'm really excited about. The 3 women that I'm calling in to fill these spaces, I'm really, really excited. Yeah, I could just get into how much I love my one-on-one coaching right now and the magic that is unfolding with the women that have, stepped up in their business and are showing up in a bigger way. But I just want to say that if you're resonating with this and if you would love to bring more intuition and more flow into your business, then I invite you to book a 30-minute discovery call with me at no cost. I want to get on the phone with you and let's look at some ways that, or some ways that things are feeling really stuck and rigid, and maybe you're in your mind trying to figure out things and what to do next and where you're at. Let's look at that and give you some ways, some intuitive guidance into how you can bring more flow and more grace and more heart into your business. Because like I said, you have something that needs to be shared by you. Only you can show up and share your gifts and your message. And so I want to help you make that happen. There's women, there's people out there, whoever it is that you're meant to serve, they're out there and they're literally waiting for you to show up. So the more that I can help you get into that flow, to tap into your intuition and show up and serve these people, I mean, it's that ripple effect that just continues to make the world a better place, one person, one business at a time. So if you're feeling like this is a yes, this is resonating with you, I've included the link to book your discovery call in the description. So come on over, choose a time that works for you. Make sure you choose your time zone. Choose a time that works for you, and we'll get on the phone and we'll explore some of this and dive into it a little bit more in ways that we can only do one-on-one. And if at the end of our call I feel like I can help you even more with this, I might share a little bit about my coaching program and look at whether that's a good fit for you. But of course, there's no obligation to take it any further than your discovery session. So I'll leave that with you. The link again is in the description, so you can click that. It'll take you to my online scheduler on my website. You can pick a time for your discovery call and we'll make that happen. Okay, sending you so much love from Bali, and I will talk to you again soon. Okay, have a beautiful day.